And welcome to the Nasboys Sports Podcast. Now, did you know that during the 2016 NBA Finals, LeBron James led all players on both teams in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks in the series? He is the only player in NBA history to lead all players in the five major categories for an entire playoff series. So, anyways, guys, welcome to the Nasboys Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Mike, aka Mike Fob Fam 101, with my good friends and co-host Spencer, aka Spencer underscore J15,
Hello, everyone.
and Cam, aka I Spy Cam.
Howdy, y'all.
So let's talk about some sports a little bit here. We're going to be starting off with football. So, Spencer, as you may have mentioned in the last episode in your pre-recorded message, you are more of like a football kind of guy. So why don't you start us off a little bit and talk about some football news today?
Okay, the first thing is, sorry if I butcher his name, but Demarius Thomas retires from the NFL at only age 33. He was known for being a four-time Pro Bowler and winning Super Bowl 50 with the Broncos. Uh, Hold up. Former Seahawks wide receiver Tamion Terry was indicted for a felony murder of a 21-year-old in a 2018 gang-related mass shooting in Georgia, and Steelers have released All-Pro offensive guard David D. Castro.
Just to give my own mind on this a little bit, just the wave of violence recently in the NFL. Like all these guys, they're like, we've noticed a lot of gun violence recently, and it's getting a little, it's getting bad. Just this week again, we just have another one. That has to deal with another shooting, so it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There is a lot of gun violence in the NFL right now. It's very, very strange.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen this off season so crazy in a while.
Yep.
Yeah, especially like doesn't really have to do with the gun violence, but just like this has been a weird off season, just with like all the moves, and I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. I don't have the words.
Yeah, well, for a great example, it's talking about rules. Is like with COVID, the way they're doing things is so extravagant and just like insane. So like, for example, I'm a Vikings fan. Kirk Cousins isn't getting the vaccine, and because of that, Kirk Cousins is gonna legit have to eat by himself, do everything by himself basically. He has to have private training sessions. He can't share it with people because he didn't get the vaccine. On the bye week when he gets to go home for a little while, he actually has to stay home. He can't go outside at all.
What?
He has to have someone go to places for him and then pick it up and then take him in. So, really, they're taking these procedures very strict. And it's all on the NFL, too. It's pretty insane. Coaches are getting pretty upset about it, and guys are getting upset even more because they feel as if they're forced to do it, which, kind of what it's looking like, unless you just want to, have your whole team hate you practically, which is, the honest truth, because you're going to get into that political talk with your team. And people are going to know whether you got it or not because they, you kind of have to isolate yourself from everybody. So I just think it's really stupid.
Yeah, I'm not going to say my opinion on that because I kind of have opinions that would seem controversial, but that does seem very stupid, and I'm very confused by that.
Yep, just
yeah. I was also not aware of this, so very weird. That's for sure.
Yep.
I don't know what else.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that either, actually. I knew that Cole Beasley wasn't getting it, but I didn't know anything about Kirk Cousins and the protocol of what was going to happen with it.
Yeah, well, it was like big time news, and like I didn't see a lot of news media's like talking about it really. And I was shocked because I have this Vikings account that I follow, and they talked about it a little more, and they have their own podcast. I listen to it because I'm good friends with them. And I want to support them, so they talked about it, and I was very interested. I was like, oh look at that.
Yeah. So let's get in now to something else. We got some. Hold on a second. We got some MLB news. So Cam, Since you're kind of the baseball
Yep.
guy, why don't you get into it a
So-
little bit?
Something that's going on that's pretty big right now, and there hasn't been a lot of news of it recently. It's kind of been like shush, don't really talk about it too much inside the MLB. Is Trevor Bauer, which was accused of sexual assault. He denied it. Investigations has started, and so I don't know. I mean, honestly, my opinion on it is, I hope to God he didn't do that, because I think he's a very nice guy. Like personally. When he talked about it, the only thing that he gave that was a little bit descriptive was that he just had a couple awkward sexual interactions with each other. It was just like more awkward, like maybe a kiss, but it was like real awkward, and both was just kind of cringed out about it. So, we'll see how it goes. I just hope the God he didn't do that, because man, first the Marcell Ozuna thing with maybe beating his wife, now this, it's like, eesh.
Yeah, and I already know what people are gonna say. They're gonna bring up the stereotype of steroid abuse again. So
Yeah.
I don't really know too much about Trevor Bauer, but from what I was reading about him from other people, he does seem like a good person and an actual good personality in the MLB. So I don't know. We'll find out
Well-
later on in his investigation, and I know that it is impacting his playing time right now. I know he's on a leave at the moment that could last a little longer. It's only slated to last a week, but it could last longer. So I don't know.
Well, I mean,
what happens, and we'll keep you guys updated with that news.
yep. And I guess just to go on a little quick thing about it, if you guys don't know why it's so big, is because Trevor Bauer actually had a big part in helping the MLB kind of find the cheating a little bit with the Astros, and now with the pitching. And and he even said, like, on his Twitter in the past about the formula that pitchers are using, and like he's helped out a lot, right? He's trying to contact them, and MLB. Well, I'm not gonna get on them, but the MLB head commissioner is just really dumb with what he thinks he's doing, and so Trevor Bauer was a big help with MLB, kind of in a way. So for this to happen, it's not gonna have a good look on a lot of players, just like the gun violence is with the NFL. So you got any opinion on it, Spencer?
Not really. Just kind of like what Mike said. We'll see what happens, what comes out of the investigation, and maybe once like the investigation comes out or is like done, I'll probably form some opinions. But right now, I don't really have any opinions.
So another big news in the baseball world: the Houston Astros, like their fans, caught Baltimore Orioles cheating. So you're not gonna believe this, guys, but I'm gonna be very descriptive of it. So one of the pitchers that was using it was caught by having another pitcher that was in the mound with them, like that was in the like the practice mound, getting it off his armpit, like under his armpit. Okay. And the substance that they were using was red hot. And so it's pretty big. And I just kind of think it's ironic that the people that like the Houston Astros, that basically support cheaters, are catching other cheaters, which is just kind of funny, it's ironic for sure. No hate to Astros fans though. I get it. Maybe some of you guys, probably didn't know that was cheating. I understand that. So now with this, I think it's a little confusing though, because he had it on the armpit where like you'd basically have to take out his glove because he's right-handed and then go under his right armpit to get it. Unless he wants like to really break his arm and look really uncomfortable trying to do it. But I just feel like that doesn't make sense to me, so that's how it is. What do you think about it, Mike?
Yeah, that's actually very ironic that the Astros fans are catching the Orioles cheating. We all know the story, but just another sticky situation.
Ha ha.
That's really
That's
it.
very
Just another
fun
sticky
for you.
situation.
What about you, Spencer? What do you think on it?
To be honest, I'm not exactly sure, just because, obviously, like I said in the first episode, I don't follow baseball a lot, so I don't really know about much of the stuff going on that, but
So I can explain it real quickly. Basically, these pitchers are using a sticky substance to make their spin rate higher. Okay, it used to be for grip, but now it's for spin rate higher, which when the spin rate on the ball is higher, it makes the ball harder to hit. So it's a big cheating thing, and it's not fair. And to two good, decently players just got caught with it, and it's pretty big. So another thing, which is kind of just more of an impressive kind of thing, is that the Texas Rangers minor leaguer Sam Huff hit a absolute bomb, 511 feet, and that.
What's
That was what's the word? The longest like home run that they've caught by us. I think it's like Stormcast or something like that. And basically, it's just a new record for them. They haven't had this one this big. So it's pretty important to them. I think it's impressive. I actually looked up because I thought maybe that might have been like the longest home run. And actually Babe Ruth still holds it because Babe Ruth holds everything. All right, Babe Ruth. He just has every record practically. What do you think about it, Mike?
That sounds very, very cool, actually. I'll probably put a clip of it, or I probably did while editing. So I'm sure that's very cool. Maybe he'll get called up to the league someday. They'll need more power hitters like him.
I know, because you think a 511, shoot, bring him up now. I mean, and then another, spontaneous thing that just recently happened was Shohei Ohtani, who's an absolute beast, just broke another record, and that record was being a pitcher and hitting the most home runs in one season, which was 30.
Keep those hands back and that front hip in a little longer.
To Shohei Ohtani, center field. Let's watch it go. Wow! Wow! Off to the batter's eye in center field. That's 31 for Ohtani.
Boy, that bat flip. That went 459 feet. Shohei Ohtani, 31 home runs, tying Hideki Matsui's all-time home run mark for a Japanese-born hitter in the major leagues. 31 home runs. Shohei Ohtani, 459 center field. And he got that pitch, didn't move around, kept the feet still. And that great bat flip, by the way. He waited going down the line there with that bat flip. Number 31, Shohei. Wow!
And Mr. Wren.
And I'm expecting he's just going to keep it going. And, the last person to hold that record was Babe Ruth with 29. Well, Shohei's just now blown him out the water. And now he's just going to keep going. So another pretty impressive thing. Now, this is a little controversial inside more of the baseball league, but I think it needs to be talked about, which is fan voting with the MLB All-Star Game is becoming an issue because players are getting screwed out of a good spot because fans like this player more. And, I think it's a big issue because it's not fair to the other players that deserve it. I feel like there should be a better way where they could do stats. I mean, maybe what they could do is take 5 of the best players in each position and then put them there for the fans to vote out of with stats. And I feel like maybe that would be a smarter idea than what they have done because it's not fair. I mean, you got Mike Trout that's in the center field and he's injured. He's not even playing. He hasn't been playing for the past 2-3 months. So how is that happening? It just doesn't make sense. MLB, fix your stuff. What do you think about it, Mike?
Well, obviously fan voting is, going to be the most popular guys. I mean, we see it in most sports that have an all-star game. I mean, the NBA, for example, Klay Thompson was in the top 10 for guards, but he was out for the entire season with an ACL injury. So I think that fan voting is both good and bad. I think that it should have more to do with like coaches and like league executives as well as
100%.
players, not only fans. Like I'm not sure how the MLB did it. I just know that they did do fan voting.
So what they do, right, is just to go into it a little bit. They have a website, and basically, it's like every day you get to. I think it's like every day you get to vote like 5, like the whole players again, like 2 players for each position on both sides again, right? And it's every day you get to do it again, right? To try to get your fan votes as much as possible, right? So basically, it's like a little online website, and it has all these players and what position, and then you click them, and then like the next day you go back and you can click them again, or you can click another person. So a lot of time guys are getting cheated out of it because they're just more popular, or not they don't really look at stats, which bothers me a lot because I feel like that's unfair, So that's how it goes, Mike.
Yep. Yeah, that doesn't really surprise me. That's just all I gotta say. That doesn't surprise me at all that fans are just gonna pick their favorite player. So, I mean, I probably would have
Yeah.
done that. Like most of my Nationals' favorite players are in, I probably would have voted for them, and I'm happy about them being in there. So, whatever.
Yep. So I have 2 more things for the MLB, and I'm just gonna say them real quickly, guys. So we have the Marlins starting pitcher, Pablo Lopez, who throws the first pitch right at Acuna Jr. And previously, Acuna Jr. has already been hit like 4 or 5 times by this team, so it got pretty big. So he got thrown out the game, and alongside the Marlins manager. So that's pretty big. It's been going on right now, and we'll see how that goes with Acuna Jr. because really it's not fair to him just to get hit, and I don't even know why. That's the worst part. So then they also have Mississippi State, which is their first college championship against Vanderbilt. It's also their first World Series. So that's pretty. I'm good. I'm glad for them. I hope they can keep on a roll. Especially to be in a World Series with a team like the Vanderbilt. They've always been known for being really good in the college, title area. So, what about you, Mike? What do you think on it?
I didn't watch it, but congratulations to Vanderbilt. That's cool.
Yep. So now we go into the NBA playoffs, and
Yes, this is right up
wow,
my alley.
Impressive. I mean, just impressive by all teams. I mean, really, this finals was just had me on my toes, kind of all around. Because like we talked about this last episode, if you haven't already, go check it out. The link will be in the description. Just all these teams really, it's been a long time since they've been up there in the playoffs, and I would never be upset for whoever wins. I mean, I may be a little upset now because I'm about to talk about it. So first of all, we have Phoenix. They won the series against the Clippers 4-2, and they are going to the finals, which we're going to talk about this game. And then I'm going to talk about my reasoning of why I'd be maybe a little upset because, yeah. So when looking at this series, the Suns and Clippers, I mean, at first it was like domination by the Suns. Just, they were winning consecutive games. And then out of nowhere came the Clippers, and they started to fight their way back a little bit. And, I was, Paul George, man, just I love when Paul George shows people up because really in the past people have always hated Paul George. Which I don't know why. I always thought Paul George was a good player, still was. They always say the Paul George curse. I never understood that. So it was a really good series. I mean, really, like I said, that series kept me on my toes a lot. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, CP3, just a deadly combo. As a Giannis fan, I'm scared because if they don't have Giannis there, it's going to be horrifying. What about your opinions on it, Mike? How do you think the series was?
Well, both series were really good. I'm going to start off with the Bucks and Atlanta one. I mean, I thought it was over when Giannis went down. I was like, oh, Atlanta's winning this. But, with Trae Young out, that gave more of a, what's the word, like a medium sort of, I guess. And Middleton stepped up. Middleton and Lopez, they stepped up a lot for the Bucks, and they just, they helped with Giannis's absence and just took the Bucks all the way to the finals. So congratulations to the Bucks. And the Suns and the Clippers series. That was also a very good series, very physical series by Patrick Beverly, who's considered one of the dirtiest players in the league. And I completely agree. I mean, he pushed Chris Paul like a little girl.
8 to shoot for Chris Paul.
Devin Booker's at half court talking to the fans.
Paul for 3, puts it in. 118 to 92. The Suns have blown it open. 37 points for Paul.
Booker talking to the fans, understanding we've seen this movie before. We have an issue on the court right now between both teams, but Chris Paul.
Beverly and Chris Paul. Beverly and Paul after knocking down that shot. This is now live as Beverly and Paul get it to look like some kind of pushing match as the players are going to their respective benches after the timeout was called. Oh, what? I mean, that's as unsportsmanlike as it gets. Patrick Beverly losing control.
He said something, Paul said something to him, and he reacted inappropriately.
You've been chirping all series
That's
long.
right.
Now's not the time to react that way.
Patrick, you're just gonna have fun in Cancun, man. Simple as that. I mean,
Yeah, and really, like the best way to describe Patrick Beverly is for anybody that's like a football fan, he's the Vontez Perfect of NBA. Like that's the best way I could describe him. I mean, really, he just looks for trouble constantly. I don't know why they haven't done anything to him because he's constantly trying to injure players. I mean, imagine if that would have like somehow seriously hurt Chris Paul. Well, there he goes. Now he's not in the finals no more. I mean, you know what I mean? So like, really, it's really dumb. He should get more than what he's gonna get, and I'm just pretty upset by that. But now to go into my my thoughts on the Bucks and Hawks game. Had a brain aneurysm there. Sorry, guys. I don't know. See, I was happy, and then now Giannis is injured, and they really haven't given me a date of when he's coming back, which I know it's expected. I mean, I'm hoping to God that he's back for the finals, because if not, I mean, I don't know how much longer Chris Middleton can carry the team for a little bit, and same with Brook Lopez. I just think that, like, he needs to come back. And I know what they're going to do. They're just going to wait until the game happens, and they're going to be like, oh, Giannis is back. He's back for this game. Whoop-de-woo, So that was horrifying, to see. Leggings station stuck. I've actually had a couple of those before. I think anybody has, as long as you just, if you ever play basketball, it's awful. But the series was very good. A lot of close games, man. At the end of the last game, the Hawks started coming back on us, a lot. And I think they came back from like 20, 30 point lead, by the Bucks, and just it ended with like a 5-point lead. So, very impressive. I still think the Hawks are a very dominant team. I still think that they have a very bright future, so that was really cool. Now, I would like to get into the predictions for the finals. If I had to pick, okay, who do I want to win? Obviously, Giannis and the Bucks. Who do I think is gonna win? I gotta go Suns. If I had to make it an example, maybe the Suns in 6. I just think that they got a really good team. This is the best we've seen Chris Paul, I think, in a little while. I mean, really, it was rocky when he was on the Rockets. So, when he's here now, I just think that he's really showing these young guys some of his moves, and it's helping. It's working. I don't know what he's done, but it is working, so I think that they're just going to win. What about you, Mike? What's your guess?
Suns in 5. That's my guess. Bold prediction. With Giannis out, I feel like that's going to hurt the Bucks a little bit. They're going to need Middleton to step up and Lopez to step up. But will they? That's the question. But with the Suns being mostly healthy with Booker and Paul, I got to go Suns in 5.
What about you, Spencer?
Well, obviously, I'm not big into basketball, but I've been paying attention to what you guys have been saying, and I think the Suns will take it. I don't know how many games it'll go, but we'll see. And also, like, I lost my train of thought, but anyways, yeah, I think the Suns will take it.
Mike, would you like to take us to the next thing, the next subject?
Yes. Let us now talk about some hockey. Actually, we got the NHL Stanley Cup. At the time of this, the Lightning are leading the Canadiens 3-0. I'm not really watching the Stanley Cup right now, but
no,
cool.
I'm not sure if I don't know. Is the game going on right now? I'm not sure. It might have went down sooner. Okay, but I'm pretty sure it's a late night game, and so with the Lightning, they lead the finals against the Canadiens 3-0. I mean, really, it's just been a murder. It's like I don't know what the Canadiens could do to come back from this. It sucks because I kind of wanted Tampa Bay to lose, because I was really upset with that because Tampa Bay is constantly there. So it's a little upsetting. What do you think about it, Mike?
Well, right now,
Mhm.
Tampa Bay is losing 1-0 to Montreal, obviously.
Oh my God! Listen, I'm saying if Montreal came back from this would be the biggest upset of this year by far. It's
7 minutes left in the second period.
oh my gosh.
So I'm not watching the Stanley Cup right now. I don't care who wins. That's basically my thoughts on it. I don't care.
Also would like to say this real quick. Nasboys presents you a somewhat late 4th of July. Okay, happy 4th. I'm sure you guys can't hear it in the background, but fireworks are going off still because people just love fireworks. Especially when I'm recording. It's just great. But yeah, so wanted to give that up there real quick. Mike, if you want to talk about the next subject?
Yes. We will be talking now about the Tour de France. I think this happened last week or a couple weeks ago. I don't know, but we got to talk about this. A lady
It's big
with a
news.
sign that said, "Hi, Grandma," caused a wreck. Here's the clip of that.
That's classified, and that is the finish climb, the Côte de Forceau loop, and that is going to be a huge crash at the side of the road. I don't know what happened there, but everyone has come down. The entire peloton has crashed. I don't know what happened, whether it was a rider at the front or something. One rider hit a fan, I think, at the side of the road, Tony Martin, and the entire peloton has crashed, pretty much.
Well, there was only a very few riders there that made it through at the front of that bunch without getting caught up in the crash. It happened on the right-hand side of the road. Yes, it looked like Tony Martin caught
a
sign held by a spectator, and the crash went all the way across the road.
Everyone pretty much in the ditch is Wout van Aert. Julian Alaphilippe didn't hit the deck. He's about one of the only riders. So yeah, a fan at the side of the road trying to hold a sign out for the camera got absolutely thumped. Shouldn't have been there in the first place. And I said a few moments ago, well done to the fans who have looked after the riders today and stayed out. But one fan has done something that has created absolute havoc.
I watched that. I'm like, what are you doing, lady? Like, she just went out in front of the bikers with no regard to human life and just stuck out her sign there. Like, what did you think was going to happen, you dummy?
I don't know what's funnier, the fact that she decided that was a good idea, or the fact that they all fell because of cardboard. I don't know. I feel like you just go buy it, right? Like, I don't know. Like, the sign look cheap, man. You just gotta like bump it and that's it. It's out the way. I bet her grandma doesn't love her no more. Am I right, fellas? That joke? No. Okay. So actually later on, another wreck happened, which apparently was made for everybody to be fair and square, right? Which supposed cheating. That's what people are thinking. And the lady is getting sued, which I don't know if that sign was worth it because I'm sure they're going to give her a good amount of money, from her. So we'll be on back to the next subject, but we're going to cut it right now and we'll be back. We'll be back.
All right, guys, we're back. Now let's talk about something that can be considered as good and bad news. NCAA athletes will finally be getting paid because of endorsement deals. So what's you guys' opinions on that?
So mine being first, okay. If you guys don't really, so like me and Mike actually talked about this for a good minute, really. We both had really good points, right? And so the good is players will be getting paid, right? Which I think is highly deserved. I'm happy for them, but my upsets are here, and here's my main 2-3 pointers. Okay, first of all, now players are getting paid. Okay, now is it with different schools? Well, players getting paid higher than other players. Like for example, Ohio State, they're very dominant. They're in the championship a lot, or they're at least a contender for the championship a lot. Will their players getting paid higher than a team like Colorado State, which is not that good? They're pretty garbage. No offense, but they're pretty garbage. So will they get less paid? Because that's kind of jank. And then they also have to think about star players. Well, players that are stars, will they be getting paid more than the rest of the players on the team? And will that cause issues, right? And that's another big one in my book. And also the fact that, now I don't know if this is going to be the same way, okay, but I can already see where this is going, is will female athletes, right, that are in college, will they be paid the same? You also got to think about that too. And I'm not going to get into that talk really that much, but it is something that should be probably notified with, is that they're not, I don't know how they're going to do that. I just think that really, I hope this next update, when they start talking about, all the college athletes getting paid, is, will it have to do with licensing? Will it be with contracts? Because I'm sure now they can get contracts too, right? If Nike found a good player, let's say Justin Fields was still playing, would they maybe have a contract with him and they could do special things with him, an ad maybe, and he'd actually get paid for it, not the NCAA. So it's pretty big. It's big news, and I just think that there's a couple good and a couple bad. What about you, Mike?
Well, yeah, it's very similar to what you're saying, and I'm gonna answer your questions with my opinion. First off, I'm glad that these players are finally getting paid. It's been way too long since they've been not getting paid. Excuse me. Because they go on and play March Madness. They play in the college football playoffs. Those are all nationally televised games. Even though the College World Series, what you were mentioning earlier with Vanderbilt, they all are on national TV, and those players deserve at least some compensation for it, whether it's from the school or whether it's not. It's absolutely stupid that these guys didn't get paid in the first place because, one, they're helping their school get recognition and to bring in more recruits, and two, because these guys need to survive. I was watching videos on it, skip videos on it, and it seems good and bad to be a college athlete, and at least let them get jobs. If they can fit it in their practice schedules and their school schedules, let them get jobs at least, or get paid with endorsements. But I'm glad that they're finally getting paid, and I definitely will see more complaining, if I must be so honest, from people who are in D2, D3 schools, because it's obvious. People like Ohio State, those guys make a lot of money. Maryland, they're in the Big Ten. They make a lot of money probably. And, people like Loyola Chicago, that's, I don't know, what, a D2, D3 school? I don't even know. They don't make anything. They probably won't make anything. They're just such a small school besides, what being in the tournament a lot. So there is going to be some bad to that. And another thing, will these college players get too caught up in their money and spend it stupidly? I think absolutely.
Yes. Wow. What a point, Mike. Holy crap. I didn't even think about that. I mean, that's very true. I mean, like, because really, I mean, like, a couple bad, choices of players in a row and big time players, and maybe they might cut it. And really, I mean, it's like thin ice, all right, with what they're walking on. Okay. And, I think a lot of things that people don't realize is how much these guys actually sacrifice. Because some dudes are homeless or like live in their car over stuff like this. I mean, it's really difficult. And I just hope that maybe they can find something, because you realize if they made it even and everybody got paid the same, players that are doing better are going to feel cheated and feel like they should get more. So like really there's like a lose-lose in this situation. I'm going to love what NCAA can do about it. What do you think about it, Spencer?
Oh, well, I don't really have any other points than like you guys made, but I do still have like, opinions on it. But I think it's, very important for these players to be paid, just because with practice and games and all that, like all the things they got to do, it's like they have no time for a job. So it's like, why not pay them for what they're spending nearly all their time doing? So definitely agree with it, but also, like everything, there's cons to it too. Like Mike brought up that really good point that they might blow all their money on like some stupid stuff. I mean, we see that in the NFL a lot too.
Dwayne Haskins.
Yep. We'll see once it starts, like how it's gonna work out and all that. But yeah, I'm excited for these players to finally get what they deserve. So
yeah, and I just want to bring up a point for Cam here, like where the good players, like really good players, like for example, like Drew Timme from Gonzaga in basketball, for example, where he might feel cheated because some bench warmer is getting paid the same as him. He can easily get an endorsement deal, I feel like, because a lot of people are going to want to sign him. I mean, he's going to be a top draft pick most likely. So I feel like it'll be easier for him to get endorsements than someone like Eric Ayala from Maryland, for example, in basketball as well. So we'll just have to see how this plays out, but I won't be surprised if there's another like spree where, a lot of people are going to complain about whether they're not getting paid enough, or the female athletes are going to complain that they're not getting paid enough, even though a lot of people don't necessarily watch their sports. But
and I guess like another thing you have to think about it too is that like, are there going to be scandals because of this?
Absolutely.
You got to think about that. Like now that it's going to be big money and on the lines, I mean, because players can transfer. So like, could a school offer a kid like, hey, we'll pay you this much more if you come over here with us?
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like really, like there could be stuff like that. I mean, and I don't know how they're going to do it, because there's a lot of possibilities. And when they have money, they may bet with it and do something like Pete Rose did, which, famously was supposed to be in the Hall of Fame but got kicked out because of what he was doing, which was, he's in baseball, by the way, guys, which was basically he was on the Reds, right? He was the manager. He would bet on his own team to win games.
Right.
And like, that's not allowed. You're not really able to do that.
Exactly.
And supposedly there was like teams that would actually like basically do it for him, like lose. So then he would get that money, and then he'd like split it with. It's a big old thing. But so like really, I just wondered all the scandals that are gonna come with it.
And like, are they gonna have to sign like contracts for their salary, or like are they just gonna get it like off TV ratings? Or I'm not entirely sure how that's happening.
Because you also got to think about this too, is that like, well, you got to, players, I'm sure these are young athletes. I bet a lot of them, and including probably me if I was ever in college, wouldn't really look into my contract that much. So you got to think that's like, these players really, if they do get contracts, they're gonna really have to start looking into what they're getting into,
Right.
because you never know. There could be some crazy stuff that they might be signing into.
Yeah,
It's sad, but it's true.
And will this incentivize them to stay all 4 years at their school? That's another big question, but I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I'm very interested to see how it happens. I wouldn't be surprised if they had it and then they just took it out, but I don't know.
Well, I just thought another thing too. I mean, you have to think about so again, Alabama. Let's just say they're already a big time team. They got loads of money. And if they start paying their players, you have to think about this too, is that I'm sure all these good players that are on teams, okay, let's just say this, right? Trevor Lawrence, for example, right? He was on the Clemson Tigers. Okay. And Clemson Tigers are really good, right? And they got some money on their thing, right? But there's Alabama. And Alabama's got more money and they pay their players higher. Even their bench warmers. Now he's gonna feel untreated. He's gonna be like, well, now I want to go to that team and I want to go play there. So then you got to think about that too. Is well, how many players are gonna want to transfer to different schools just because there's more money on the lines? Because we know there's gonna be people that are greedy.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how many people there are in the NCAA just in general, but there's gonna be a lot of that.
Exactly.
From
for sure.
basketball to football, it's just a big ordeal. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. So our second to last topic is Sha'Carri Richardson failing a drug test for marijuana and is kicked out from going to the Olympics. So what do you guys think of this?
See, now I'm still 50-50 on this, okay? Because part of me is well, isn't smoking supposed to ruin your lungs and damage, how you do, you play and how active you are? So part of me is well, she's still running that fast. Imagine her drug free. I don't know why she isn't doing that, right? Which she said that the whole reason why she did it was because her mom died, and she wanted to find something to relieve the stress and all that. So, but I feel like her mom would probably be upset at her for doing that. I'm sure her mom would probably be like, no, I'd rather you go to the Olympics, not maybe just possibly screw yourself ever and never going again. I mean, I don't know if she's able to join back next year and then run again. I don't know if that's how it would work. I'm not too big of an Olympics guy. I know our good friend Christian, that's also on the podcast, is, but he's not here today. So I mean, it's just it's kind of stupid because I feel like because really weed only lasts a month, I think, in your system. So I'm sure at some point she was notified in that month or 2 months or 3 months that, hey, you're going to be running to maybe get a chance at going to the Olympics. So I feel like maybe for her not to think about what she was doing, and there's rules to this, and rules are rules. You got to follow them. You didn't follow it. I think it's pretty stupid, and part of me thinks she deserves it. Other part of me thinks, well, it's a little harsh. I don't understand steroids, of course. I understand that 100% because it enhances your running, because that's what she's doing. But she's smoking, which is just damaging herself. So it's kind of on her part. What do you think about it, Censor?
Well, like you, I'm kind of 50-50 split, but it's if anything, her smoking was gonna possibly damage her results, but also at the same time, it's you gotta follow the rules and all that, and I think like you said, I think it was way too harsh. Just if it's weed, something that that's pretty small in my opinion, at least. As long as it isn't in their system, before they're actually gonna be doing the running at the actual Olympics, then they should be fine. Just because I don't know, I'm just so split. It's just a weird situation, that's for sure.
Yeah. What do you feel about it, Mike?
Well, I'm also very split on this because like you guys are saying, smoking damages your lungs, and technically that would only hurt her performance. But I understand kind of when you lose someone, like a loved one,
right?
you don't really think. You just
Yeah.
kind of like cope about things.
Exactly.
So I'm personally like not a weed smoker. I don't use that to cope. I don't use that at all. But if that's her way to cope, then I guess that's fine. But I think that was a little harsh to like not let her run. I think that they should have just suspended her.
Or like find her. Like maybe give her a
Yeah, like
fine.
just
I mean, like
find
something.
her.
Yeah.
Because
Because
like,
it's not like
really, like you
trying
gotta
to
think.
cheat.
Oh, I
And
just thought of this though, guys. Just real quick, and then I'm gonna let you keep going. Have you ever seen like bodybuilders like smoke a lot of marijuana before they work out? I've seen that before. I've seen like a couple YouTubers do
not.
that, and like, you know, it helps them like kind of. I forget what the word is, but basically, I guess it gets their blood moving when they're working out, and it's just like, I guess since you're more relaxed, you're able to do more without like sweating. It's weird. Okay, but anyways, I guess maybe that's a way to like enhance like her running. Maybe like she was on a treadmill or like you know doing those like leg workouts with like weights. So I guess I could see that. But you know, anyways, go back to what you were saying, Mike.
I mean, it's not like she was putting steroids into her body and like completely like trying to make herself
Right.
ripped, and then she's just gonna blow out the competition. So
Right.
I don't know. I don't think that she shouldn't be allowed to run this year, but I also don't think that she shouldn't go away scot free. So, and
Yep.
I think wasn't she willing to accept that like a suspension or like a fine or
Yeah.
something like that?
She was asking for it. She was like, I understand what I did wrong. I said, I think it's a little unfair for me just to leave the Olympics. I feel like maybe a fine or a suspension would work for me. And she said, like, she said that she didn't care how big the fine was. She'd pay it.
Right. I mean, that's all I think she should do. And I don't know how true this is, but apparently there was another athlete who tested positive for steroids. Don't quote me on this because I'm not entirely sure, but apparently there was another athlete who tested positive for steroids and they're still running. So I'm not really sure how fair that is. I just saw it on like people's stories, but you know, you can't really believe everything.
Trust that, yeah. You know, it's just like you know, boomers with Facebook. Hey,
True.
you know, they say if it's on Facebook, it's true. Right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
So yeah. Move on to the next thing, Mike.
Yes, and then our final topic of the night. Well, not our final topic of the night. Well, okay, it's going to be our final actual topic of the night, and then we're going to talk about the top 10.
Yeah.
Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor fight is coming up soon. I'm not sure entirely what day it is, but I know that
July
I will be
10th.
watching. I know I will be watching illegally.
I don't know if you want to say that on the podcast.
Deal with it.
But I, you know, listen, I'm not gonna point fingers, but I think we all will. All right, that's special by Cam. All right. So basically, this is our predictions. I will go first because, you know, I'm an MMA guru. I love MMA. You know, it's like one of my favorite sports. You know, so I'm glad I got to talk about it on the podcast tonight. You know, it's pretty cool. You know, really, these are two very skilled fighters, okay? And let's just give. I want to give up the story real quick, right? Because this is the backstory, okay? So originally, Poirier and McGregor had beef when McGregor wasn't even close to being really that known. I mean, he was just starting to be known, okay? You know, he was very young and feisty, and this is back when McGregor was not afraid to get in your face and scream at you, and you know, very cocky. Probably looked drunk, but may have not been, but. He's Irish, so you never can tell. You know, so he won. Okay. So then fast forward to, I believe this was last year. I don't think it was the early 2020, 2021. I don't think it was, but I'm pretty sure it was like late last year. McGregor and Poirier fought a second time, and Poirier won. So really, this is like leading up to, you know, the third battle, and I believe this is for the championship because Khabib, which, you know, have beat both these guys, kind of like retired. You know, and it was kind of sudden. And I don't understand why. I guess, you know how Dana is. He's gonna try to talk to him because he wants to get as much money out of him as possible. You know, if Khabib's that good, you know, he wants him to be there. But I guess he gave up the title. So, you know, whoever wins this will get the title. And personally, I think it kind of goes 50-50, right? Because you got to think, you know, I'm sure McGregor is kind of prepared for that whole, you know, Poirier going for his leg again. But Poirier ought to switch it up, right? I hope he did. That would be the smartest thing to do if he wanted to win, is he would switch up his whole technique and he'd go to something new against McGregor. That has another weakness, right? That's my first thing. For Poirier to win, I think that he just has to stay in a right mind because Connor's fast. He comes out in the beginning of the first inning, right? I forget the percentage, but it's like a way high percentage of Connor knocking them out in the first round than anything else, right? So he's going to go out there in attack mode. You know, that's my guess. And, you know, Connor is he's very electric. But slowly, Connor wastes that energy and that stamina. And, you know, you're looking by the second, maybe in like late second, third round, Connor is gassed already. So I feel like if Poirier could just hang on there, he really could find, you know, an opportunity to catch Conor McGregor. For Conor McGregor to win, I believe that he's got to bring that cockiness back. Like, even though he's a humble man now, he's got to bring up that cockiness because really that's what caught Poirier off guard. You know, I think in order to win, really get Poirier off his game, you have to get in his mind. You know, you really do. You have to get in his mind. You got to bring up that nature of like, I don't care who you are, I'll get through you. You don't scare me. Nobody scares me. I'm coming, and I'm going to get that title. And I think that really Conor has to just be careful to not waste his stamina because he does that all the time. I mean, he's gassed a lot. So he's really got to like pace himself. Okay. You know, this is going to be a racing reference, but you know, because if you guys haven't already, right, we also have a racing podcast, which is all about NASCAR, which, you know, will also probably be in the link in the description. And on our most recent video, we talked about how Kyle Larson, he basically will go so aggressive that he'll cause himself to wreck, right? And it's the same way with Conor. It's just Conor's so aggressive that he'll cause himself to lose his stamina so quickly. And I think that Conor's going to have to pace himself. And, you know, he's got to learn what to throw at him, you know, and when to throw a lot of stamina and then when not to throw a lot of stamina. And you know, really, my best way to describe that is dirty boxing. You know, just get up in close quarters, grapple a little bit, but not too hard, but grapple up against the cage and just throw some light punches and some slow knees, you know, just to get past maybe a few rounds before really starting laying the hammer on them, because it's going to be a tough fight for both fighters. So, you know, really, if I had to make a prediction though, I am going to go Conor. I think that Conor may do it. You know, seeing him the other night, he looks in great physique. Man looks like an absolute monster. Looks like he's just been rebirthed. So that's my guess. What about? Oh, I guess I have to pick you know, like a knockout or submission in what round? Conor's gonna win. I'm gonna say second round by KO. What about you, Mike? What do you think?
Well, that was a lot of details there for the fight. Thanks for getting that information for me. I mean, these guys are obviously two very, very good fighters. You know, I know Conor is definitely, and Poirier, I'm not too sure about him, but I know he is a good fighter. But Conor, he gives out this vibe like he's not gonna want to lose the championship. I mean, who would want to lose the championship? So, plus in the last fight they did on January 23rd, Dustin beat him. He knocked him out in the second round. So I think Conor is going to want revenge for that. He's not going to take that. Not to mention it's for the championship. So Conor, I'm pretty sure, will bring his A game. I mean, we've seen him go crazy in fights. Like against that fight against Cowboy Cerrone, he knocked him out in like the first 30 seconds. So
exactly, he's very explosive. But I think that he's got to watch himself with that. I think it's a good strategy, but it's like now you're facing someone that it's on your level or maybe even above your level. So you really got to watch what you're doing. And, you know, I love to see what, you know, how it's going to go. It's pretty interesting. What about you, Spencer? Who do you think's going to win?
I didn't make my prediction.
Oh, did you not make your prediction? All right, my bad.
I'm going to go Conor, and I think he's going to win by KO in the second round.
Second round too? Okay.
Like I've never really been into, fighting and all that. I just kind of see it as, pointless, but I can see why people like it and all, but we're not going to get into that. But anyways, obviously, like both of you said, they're both very good fighters from what I've heard and all that. And I'm just going with my gut since I don't really know who they are as fighters, but I'm going to say Connor by KO in the 3rd round. So let's hope my gut is right about that.
All
Spencer,
right.
if you don't know anything about fighting and you get this right, I'm gonna be upset.
You're a legend.
I'm gonna be real impressed. All right, I'm gonna be real upset about that.
Let's start off with the top 10 here. So Cam, why don't you start us off?
Coming in at number 10, we have Nolan Arenado, who barehands it to first. Here's the clip.
1 ball and no strikes. There's a little tap off the end of the bat. Arenado barehanded. Oh, what a play! Nolan Arenado. Remarkable play from the Cardinal third baseman. Holy smokes!
That looks like a video game play. Pavin Smith hits it off the end of the bat. Nolan Arenado, understanding he's got speed too, barehands it, somehow gets rid of it quick enough to get Pavin at first base. Wow.
In disbelief. That
Crazy play to be able to run and pick up the ball. And, like, his back was, like, bent over, so to throw it while running and, the weird position he was in and throwing it at 89 to get the guy out in first, crazy play.
Coming in at number 9, Rockies pitcher Hermaine McQuest has a 1-hit shutout in only 92 pitches. Here's the clip.
Cloud. The interesting thing on his last start, though, he threw the slider more than the curveball. Threw the slider about 30% of the time, curveball.
1-0 to Adam Frazier, batting .330, and he pulls that one.
Number 8 is Giannis Antetokounmpo blocking Clint Capella's shot. Here's the clip.
Together very much like they did in Game 3.
Nice pass. Capella rejected by Antetokounmpo. And the foul committed by Lou Williams.
What a block here by Giannis Antetokounmpo. Meet me at the summit, he tells Clint Capella.
Hawks.
Coming in at number 7, Paul George breaks Chris Paul's ankles, which Mike put up a meme here because there are some pretty funny ones, and puts up a career-high 41 points for his team.
And those were cash in the first 4 games.
George on the pull-up, nails a 3. Paul George answers, and it's
Coming in at number 6, I'm going to butcher this name, but Shohei Ohtani hits his 30th home run on the season, leads in home runs. Here's the clip.
Ohtani crushes it. This one to left field. This one is gone. Wow!
I've never seen anything like this. Power right center, power left field, and he knew it off the bat. Shohei Ohtani throwing the crowd. AL Player of the Month.
And at number 5 is Quinn Sullivan making his first career goal at just 17, my age, with a bicycle kick. Here's the clip.
Montero, who's a Cape Verde international, floated in. This is dangerous, and it's 1-1, and it's a fabulous finish by Quinn Sullivan, the 17-year-old. Well, Jim Curtin isn't showing his emotion, but he must be absolutely delighted. Gets his first MLS goal, it's 1-1.
Well, you see Pineda with Sullivan, and he just peels off of him here. He loses his mark. There he has him, and now Sullivan just peels off Pineda's shoulder, and the acrobatic bicycle kick.
Clint Capella, who shoots behind the backboard to make a buzzer beater shot. Here's the clip.
nice pass to Capella. He is surrounded. He is double teamed. Fires one up and hits from behind the backboard with the shot clock running down.
Insane.
Coming
Spencer?
at number 3, Trey Turner hits this cycle on his birthday. Here's the clip.
Trey Turner over the glove of Mike Brasso. And it's a good thing for the Rays. Kiermaier was playing over toward the gap. That had enough juice on it to get to the scoreboard, but he was able to cut it off. And Trey Turner, his march toward 100 hits continues. He's now at 97.
Just an impressive piece of hitting. First pitch was 99 right down the middle. This slider caught the middle of the plate, but he stayed back and stayed through it and hit a bullet.
And this time he's going to pull it. Extra bases. Schwarber coming to third. Bob Henley's going to hold him. Trey Turner into second. And with Juan Soto coming up, the Nats have the tying run at second base.
Well, another good piece of hitting here from Trey Turner. Sheriff went with the changeup this pitch. He stayed behind it and laced a double down the left field line. You can see how long his barrel stays in the zone. Rosarena did a good job of fielding this ball cleanly and hitting his cutoff man, forcing Bob Henley to throw on the brakes for Schwarber. Trey with another multi-hit effort today.
Well, this is the Nats' 80th game of the year. And Trey Turner right now has 98 hits. That ball hit well. Right center. He's got 99 hits. See you later. Happy birthday, Trey. And guess what he needs for the cycle? Something he's very capable of doing. More on that later. The Nats have a 2-run lead back.
Get this guy to Denver. Somebody put.
And coming in at number 1, James Conrad makes an incredible throw and forces a playoff in the disc golf championship.
Such a again, so it's a putter.
Oh, no way! No way!
Unbelievable. What did we just watch? Dude, that's the clutchest thing I've ever seen. I wish I was there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Macbeth now needs to get up and down.
If that doesn't send shivers through your spine.
Yeah, Paul Macbeth needs to get up and down for a playoff.
Oh my goodness.
They are going to have to pull the crowd. They just had a little bump, him and Paul. They're going to clear the crowd out. Paul Macbeth has to get up and down for a...
I looked at some of the videos for this one. Insane. I mean, the crowd went wild, which I think every kid just dreams of hearing a roaring crowd, you know, just making them do something crazy. So good for him. Insane shot.
And with that, that will conclude this week's episode of the Nasboys Sports Podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Make sure you guys share this with your friends to hear all about the world of sports. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
See ya.